Love, love, love. Today we are talking about love. And look, I am sorry, I did have a video lined up about Itachi, and it was going to be along the lines of what I had been posting recently. Growth, masculinity, all of these challenges in life. But I was watching this anime as I was eating my food and I could not hold myself from making this video. And the reason is very simple, because love is a beautiful thing. Hold on, let me fix you up over here. Alright, as I was attempting, let me fix you up again. As you have just seen, the ground of my camera is not very stable, and neither is my heart in this moment, because I just watched an awesome anime. It's one of these weird titles like, oh, the second prettiest girl is my friend, whatever weird Japanese super long title compilation over here, please, thank you. Now, before anybody makes fun of me in the comments for my clear passion for romance anime, I could still beat up most of you people, so don't get it fucked up. But romance anime is my... I'm not even guilty about it, so I can't say guilty pleasure, but it's my pleasure. I absolutely love it, and this anime, of course, I'm speaking about it because I was squealing like a little girl as I was watching it with a lot of these anime. Bro, what the fuck? But there was also something very important, noteworthy to talk about in this anime that I want to bring some attention to. And I would recommend for you to watch throughout because there's some things that happen so often in the real world that a lot of people would appreciate and that could give you chances with somebody you might like. And thus it is quite worthwhile. And so as you and I both watch these animes, squealing like little girls, as we watch these animes and enjoy it, if you enjoy them like me, then you know what I'm talking about. Anyway, they feel a little void in my heart, you know, when I feel a little empty. Anyhow, as we watch this, there might be something for us to learn. So this is exactly what this video is about. There are two main beautiful things in this anime that I'd like you to look out for. The first one is more psychological, the second one is more philosophical, and I think you will really enjoy them both. When we look at the main character Maki, we might think he's a loser. And yes, he kind of is, you know, he doesn't really go out, he doesn't really have friends, he doesn't blah blah blah. You know, he doesn't try to live life to the fullest. And I encourage all of my anime viewers over here to not just enjoy anime, but to live life at the most potent version of yourself that you can be. You know, I am proud to admit that I was one of the... I keep saying I. Anyway, that I was one of the first people to watch anime before it was cool. Like fucking 13 years ago. And my best friend and I, we made that shit tough. We made it cool. And because to us, just like for you most likely, anime is some very important thing. I didn't like people looking down on me for liking anime or mocking it, so I made sure to be good in many aspects in life, not only for the sake of others, but because I wanted to be like these characters that I looked up to. And while I enjoy, and many people enjoy, the anime series, we seldom actually try to be like these people we see. It's like watching normal movies, but not trying to be like the actors, being cool, being powerful, being illustrious, intrepid, and going to life with full vigorness. You know, most of the time people just twiddle their thumbs and dream instead of acting. And the main character of this series, it's most of the time no different. He doesn't really do anything, and in like many animes, it's kind of unrealistic how lucky the main character gets, at least in the romance category. He has a boring attitude and he's kind of kind, but everyone is kind of kind. And because of this, one of the prettiest girls in the school gives him attention. Alright, come on now, like that's not gonna happen, and that's not me raining on anyone's parade, it's me being realistic. It's not gonna happen, especially if you are happy with this type of attitude and behavior. Absolutely not. Maki himself, the main character, is not happy with how he is, and he's striving for a change. And you often see this in characters. They would be in a place that we may admire or may not admire, but they will always challenge themselves to be better. And we should have this, if anything else, this mentality onto ourselves too. Because it doesn't matter our baseline or where we start, but rather where we want to get. You may be behind from other people, guess what? There's too many factors that affect this, from birth to environment to country, whatever. So, you know, you're not fully to blame if maybe there's somebody that's more gifted than you. So I'm not asking you to get dealt better cards, but to play your cards to the best of your ability and to make the most of them. Even though the main character is so useless, boring, etc., there is one thing that actually kept the girl interested in him in a way that was kind of realistic and that made sense. And this is the one of two things, the psychological one. To make somebody feel special and to choose them. It's no surprise that most of us seek validation and that we are not completely confident. And I'll be the first to admit that I have many of my own insecurities. Now, knowing that we all have these things that we battle and that there's always somebody better out there that we compare ourselves to, there is nothing better than somebody looking at us with admiration and that actually chooses us for who we are. The main heroine of this series is Umi. Umi has a best friend called Amani or something like that. The contrast here is that her best friend is the number one of the school. Everybody looks up to her and stuff, and she's always casted as number 2. Now there's that like saying that's like, oh, who's the fastest man in the world? Usain Bolt. We all know this. Who's the second fastest? I don't know. Do you know? You don't know. Right? And this is the whole philosophy and the concept of only the number 1 takes throne, right? And it's not only taking the throne, but everything around it. The whole spotlight goes to the best. If somebody is great, okay, but they're not the best. The best person gets all the merit and all the attention. And due to this, and due to being best friends throughout most of their life, Umi, the main heroine here, is used to not really getting that attention that she deserves, quite frankly. But for the first time ever, she got chosen over the other girl. She became somebody's number 1. Umi gets this treatment from Maki, and Umi is flabbergasted. For the first time in her life she is getting chosen. Upon this, her emotions run rampant. She already has similarities with this kid that she didn't have with other people, and that is already something that's driving them together. But on top of that, he gives her one of the most powerful love types, which is words of affirmation. He says to her, "You're the one that I want, and I'm only looking at you." And he backs up these words. The prettiest girl comes around, everybody is stunned about seeing her, and he doesn't really react. And then his little crush comes along and he's like, oh my god, whatever, right? And he's actually displaying how insanely gorgeous she is to him and saying it openly, instead of saying anything about the other girl. And he has the thought, oh, she looks nice, but he doesn't say it out loud. This difference in treatment is the normal difference in treatment that the other girl gets. And at last somebody is picking her despite still not being better than this girl. Because to the eyes of this person, Maki, she is number 1 in the universe. Looking into your partner with these eyes will make them feel so much better. Because be it you get a girlfriend or a boyfriend, they will be prettier out there, maybe smarter, maybe more fun, right? More charismatic. There's always someone better. So what if you treated the person that you have now, or that you're wanting to have, as if they were the best ever, because you cherish them and you love them? You know, all of their perfections and all of their imperfections. What if you truly cherish this? Not only would that make your own emotions stronger, but it will make the other person feel better about you. This giving and receiving kind of way of behaving is much more beautiful, and that's what love is about. Love is never about obtaining and gaining. Love is always about giving back. But however, it isn't giving that we receive. So it's in loving that we are loved. And the second point is more spiritual and way cooler to me. Now unfortunately this section of the video applies a bit more to men, but I think for the ladies watching you might find it exciting still. I'm not sure if it's a saying, but somebody said something to me a long time ago and it stuck with me. They said, if you give your woman or a woman a book, she will give you a library. And he wasn't saying it in the regard of women yap a lot, which they do, but I love that about you. Never change. Through the context of the conversation we were having at the time, it was more along the lines of the woman that you love and that loves you will always give you so much more than you give to her. And on an emotional level, that was hard to say, that's quite true. Women, after all, are, emotionally speaking, a little more developed than men are. They're more in tune with their emotions, the emotions of the atmosphere, and all these things. And though a man's love may be more full of service, there is nothing that can compare to the strength that a woman's love can have. Be it for her children, for her man, for whoever. And you can see this in the anime. The guy says to her, I don't really do that much for you. And she says this is not true, but in fact it is true. He doesn't do a lot for her in comparison to what she does for him, bringing him friends and whatever. He just gave her like a safe space to be. But as I said, you give a girl a book, she gives you back a library. This video is a bit more for people in a relationship. Give that person that you have with you love. Make them feel special. You know, it's like writing a card for them, giving them flowers occasionally and things of the sort. Goes a very long way. I know that when my partners have done that for me, the moment that I would read these words of affirmation or appreciation or whatever, it will make me feel so happy and immediately more in love that it's kind of unfair how easy I am. Anyway, quick video. Sorry, I was watching this while eating my food. And though I had all these like videos about whatever more serious topics per se, I watched this and I wanted to share with you because I love you. So yeah, I hope you enjoyed it. A little bit random, not a lot of structure, not a lot of anything really. But God, man, I freaking love anime, like romance, and from time to time I need this cool down. My last couple of videos were Guts, Canute, and like Itadori Yuji, and like Ippo. You know, like, give me a break, all of this fighting, all of this seriousness. From time to time, you know, girls just want to have fun. Strive to be 1% better every day, and much love. Mwah. Subscribe.